Welcome back to Actionable Intelligence. I'm Eric Greitens. He's an icon in a lot of America, and at first glance, Phil Robertson looks like a typical Louisiana man who lives for duck hunting season. A closer look, however, reveals that he's lived quite the life because of duck hunting season. Robertson is one of the stars of the popular show Duck Dynasty. The show ran for 5 seasons. And in that time, Phil Robertson became a household name as a man who is never afraid to speak his mind when it comes to his family, his faith, and his love of freedom. We're really pleased to have Phil with us today. Phil, it's great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good to be here, Eric.
So I want to start off. You're a man that's known for being committed to your love of faith and freedom. Tell us about how that's evolved through your life and your thoughts on it today.
If you look at it logically, Eric, there's several things that earthly kingdoms cannot give one. One, man-made governments cannot remove our sin. 2, man-made governments, although they may give you through the medical profession, they may give you a little more time to live on the earth. They can't raise you from the dead. Therefore, I've chosen to follow the godly route, which does both. Removes my sin, I had a lot of them, and raised me from the dead. So I'm taking my chances with Jesus of Nazareth, who said, I am the beginning of anything, the Alpha. I am the Alpha and the Omega. The Omega means he's the end of everything, beginning of anything, end of everything. I'm taking my chances with that particular individual.
Now, Phil, you've also been out this season. You've been out campaigning for the president. You've been outspoken on his behalf. He's actually pulled you up on stage. You've made videos endorsing his candidacy. What is it about President Trump that speaks to you, and do you think that the average American sees in the president?
So I'm sitting in the vehicle and someone says, I think it's my oldest son, you got 15 minutes with Donald Trump, who's running for office, if you want it, Dad. I said, book it. He wants to talk to me. I was a little surprised that a man running for the presidency of the United States would contact me about anything.
Right.
So I said, book it. So I go in there, and after the secret police, whoever they are, after they put that wand on me, I told someone they put that wand in places Miss K hasn't been in years. So I get in there, there's a few generals around and different. Within 30 seconds, how you doing? Pretty good. He appreciated me backing him. I said, whatever happens, Trump, don't forget this. I had drawn the gospel out on a piece of paper, small piece of paper, God becoming flesh. 2020 years ago, I said, Trump, your calendar documents it. It's 2020 years since Jesus showed up. So he dies on a cross for the sins of the world. I said, Trump, you do have sins, don't you? He said, oh, you bet I do. A lot of them. I said, me too, and everyone else. I said, they put him in a tomb, and that's where you and I are going, my man, into a tomb. It may be car wreck, cancer, heart attack, gunshot, old age, but we're going down, you and I. I said, 3 days after they killed Jesus, he's standing back up on the earth. I said, he went back into heaven. All we're waiting for now, Trump, is the return. I hope you win the election. I'm behind you. I'm out of here. And when I turned to walk away, he said, hey, can I have that piece of paper? I said, sure. And I handed it to him, and I walked out the door. So I pointed him to the one who could save him from death and remove his sin. That was my interaction. I talked to him a couple of times after that. Every time I was with him, we talked about spiritual matters. I'm not a mind reader, but I know this. He is, as it turned out, which I didn't know, he is now pro God, pro life, and pro gun. You have to have a gun to shoot ducks and also to stop robbers, looters, and killers from taking over your family.
Now, Phil, one of the things that we were talking about before we came on was your support for the military and veterans. You continue to be a voice for our men and women in uniform, and also you're a big supporter of our law enforcement officers. Everybody saw what happened this past summer with looting and rioting across the country. Why is it so important to you to continue to be out there supporting our police officers and our law enforcement officers, first responders, and men and women in the military?
Everyone must submit himself to the governing authorities. Romans chapter 13, 2,000 years ago. There's no authority except that which God has established. The authorities that exist have been established by God, law enforcement. Consequently, he who rebels against the authority is rebelling against what God has instituted. And those who do so will bring judgment on themselves. Rulers hold no terror for those who do right, but for those who do wrong. Do you want to be free from the fear of the one in authority? Do what's right and he'll commend you. Check this out. He, law enforcement, is God's servant to do you good. But if you do wrong, be afraid, for he does not bear the sword for nothing. Well, now they're carrying Glocks. He is God's servant, law enforcement, an agent of wrath, law enforcement, to bring punishment on the wrongdoer, law enforcement. Therefore, if you think it's rough with them, just remove them and it'll be hell on earth. No doubt about it.
Well,
Got
Phil,
to have them.
we know that there are a lot of Real America's Voice viewers who are also huge fans of the Duck Dynasty. And all of us appreciate your commitment to faith, to family, to freedom. I personally, as we talked about, very much appreciate your continued support for the United States military, for our men and women who are out there, and also for our support in law of everyone in law enforcement. Phil, really appreciate you coming on Actionable Intelligence today, sir. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. And folks, we'll be right back with our moment in history.